Nicholas Dakin from Portfolio Manager at Sasfin, or he's a portfolio manager there with us again this morning. Nicholas, hello to you. So end of a long week market-wise as well. Obviously, we were all waiting for the budget speech. We'll get there in a moment. Let's just rattle through, if we could, as we always start with just our commodities and our rand dollar. Let's start with the gold and the oil this morning. How are we looking?
Good morning, Gareth. Thank you for having me. Not too much movement in the gold price this morning, all things considered. As you see on the screen, they're trading at around $1,985. But it has been certainly quite a rock and roll show in the markets this week. And as I said, as you pointed out, the markets have been moving, and I'm glad that I can finally provide some positive market news for a change. And I feel I've been the prophet of doom and gloom on a Friday morning for your viewers recently. We saw a lot of green on the screen yesterday, with both the JSE and offshore markets moving strongly higher on the back of Wednesday evening's speech by the chair of the US Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. US markets had their best day in 6 months. There wasn't too much in the statement that was surprising. The US Federal Reserve left rates unchanged, which is what was expected. And they say that they're just continuing to monitor the situation. They are seeing how inflation evolves, but the economy is doing well. And I think all things considered, inflation is a lot lower than where it was. It's moving in the right direction. It seems to be under control, and the market really liked this yesterday. So a lot of green on the board, but as you pointed out, gold, not too much movement there so far.
Yeah, let's talk about the rand at the moment as well. From what I'm with the Fed and everything, I imagine the dollar is weakening. So let's bring up the dollar and the currencies for everyone at the moment. We have it, Nicholas, at 18.40 to a US dollar, 19.55 to a euro, 22.45 to a pound. But obviously, we watch the dollar so very closely. As we'll just wrap that up for us quickly.
Yes, absolutely. On the back of this, we have seen the dollar weaken quite significantly, and the rand is benefiting from this. I would have expected to see the rand perhaps a little bit stronger against the dollar yesterday. I think maybe the market was just digesting those medium-term budget numbers, which, there weren't any nasty surprises there. But I think, it does paint a rather gloomy picture of how the country's finances are looking. And it did reaffirm the precarious situation that the country finds itself in. But as you point out, the rand is nicely firmer against the dollar. So certainly benefiting from this improved global investor sentiment that we are seeing in the market currently. And I think it will continue to do so.
Sibanye-Stillwater, Platinum Group Minerals, let's just talk about them for a second as well. We'll get to the MTBPS. I want to get your thoughts just overall in a moment. Nicholas, just give me the latest on Sibanye-Stillwater. They're dropping their earnings. I mean, you would imagine with the commodities market the way it is at the moment, it would go the other way, but they seem to be going south.
Yeah, so one of the shares on the JSE that still couldn't get any love yesterday was Sibanye, which ended the day about 2% lower following the release of their third quarter operational update. Overall, the update was fairly in line with expectations, and it did reaffirm the challenges that the company is facing currently. So the PGM basket and mainly palladium, which does make up most of the group's earnings, has actually fallen around 40% this year. So that's why you saw group earnings absolutely collapse at Sibanye. So EBITDA down from 8 billion rand to 3 billion rand. And this was despite actually operational production-wise doing quite well. So production was up, but obviously the price of the PGM basket really hitting them. And so the share has basically halved since the beginning of this year. But we've seen the other PGM players, Amplats, Impala Platinum, Northam, all suffer a similar fate. So that industry really having quite a tough time and not and having to relook at the businesses. Sibanye also said that they are evaluating and seeing what they can do to sort of right-size the South African gold and PGM operations. We saw that they announced they're going to be cutting up to 4,000 jobs. So, yeah, very challenging time for these miners, given the decline in the PGM basket price.
Yeah, it's not a good time to be in PGM at the moment, unless you want to buy low and sell high. If that's your game, that's fine as well, I guess. All right, very quickly, if you were the headline writer for the big newspapers this morning, Nicholas, your takeaway from the medium-term budget policy statement yesterday. Very quickly, what did you make of it? Keep you up at night, or are you fairly happy despite all the doom and gloom?
Gareth, as I said, largely as expected, there were no nasty surprises. I think it was delivered well, and the market did seem to like it. We've seen the rand, pretty strong on the back of it. I think for me, still the main concern is how we're going to get on top of this debt pile. The interest costs are really killing us, and at the end of the day, this is preventing government from going and spending on infrastructure and, the things we need to grow the South African economy. So unsurprising, but I think this reaffirms that, we're not in a great position here.
No, we're not. Not in the least. Nicholas, good to have you with us. You have a good weekend. Appreciate the time. Nicholas Dakin from Sasfin, a portfolio manager there, of course, joining us this morning. So the oil looking good, at least as far as the forecasts for December are concerned for that fuel price. If we keep at these low numbers, around $86 per barrel, we could have a good Christmas, but you never know. I don't want to jinx it. So that's Nicholas from Sasfin joining us this morning.